Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. Now then, today's video we're going to be doing an unboxing and teardown of this. It's Eachine's or Eachine EAT10. It's like a little 1/18 scale brushless basher. If you've got a Pxtoys 9000 series or a Enoze 9000 series buggy or basher, this video will apply to you because it's basically the same truck. This chassis is used on multiple different brands, so if you've got one of those trucks it'll probably be very familiar to you. Before we open the box, let's have a quick look at the specs. It's pretty standard really, ready to run, 4-wheel drive, 2.4 gig. It's got some shock absorbers, thank God, and some tyres. Very generous of Eachine. It's also got a trucky body and a power motor, so it's a win-win all round that. As ever on the channel, I haven't opened this box. If there's anything untoward, you and I shall see it first. It doesn't seem a very big box actually, considering it's got a truck inside, but it's only 1/18 scale. So anyway, enough waffle, let's crack him open, see what we get. Now I think the Eachine version comes with 2 batteries, so we're about to find out. I will tell you the price as well. Oh, it's upside down. Okay, I've had the yellow one, the other one was pink apparently. Oh, there we go, it's quite a natty looking thing, isn't it? Right, we get the truck, very bouncy. We also get, there's one battery anyway, and a battery charger. Nice to see they keep providing them with oh, it's a LiPo as well. Oh. A metal wheel wrench, thank God. Is people at WL Toys taking note. Metal wheel wrench, not a plastic one. And our controller. Let's just get rid of some of this crap here. Oh. So, so it looks like on the controller, or the transmitter I should say, we've got steering dual rate, throttle dual rate and steering trim, and we can also, by the looks of things, reverse the steering and the throttle as well, so that might come in handy for somebody that might possibly be a bit cack-handed. I like the way they've actually got, I don't know if you can see there, numbers printed on the little knobs for the steering and throttle dual rate. Anyway, right, let's get into this and see what we get. Before we go any further with the video, I'll just let you know the price. It was 60 quid on Banggood on a flash deal. I'll put an amount in dollars below. It's not a terribly cheap little 1/18 scale basher, but neither is it too expensive. And it is brushless and you do get 2 LiPo batteries in it. But it is double the price of a motivator. So hopefully underneath, apart from the brushless setup of course, we should get a few little perks I would imagine for that money. First impressions, well, it's a good looking little truck. I do like the yellow graphics. Tyres feel a little bit plasticky but still quite soft and compliant. I've had quite a quick look over this and I noticed there is a bit of moulding flash on some of the plastic components, which doesn't look as though it's particularly good quality, but we'll reserve judgment till we open him up. So let's dive into it and see what's underneath its clothes. Right, let's remove his clothes and see what we get. Before we go any further, I have noticed on the body, I don't know if the camera will pick it up there, we've got some sponsorship stickers. One says Bridgestone and the other one says Motorbex Oil. So I don't know how to get away with it. Right, underneath we have, there's our little brushless motor. Now I think, I'll check for you, but I think that's the same size you get in a HBX 16889. So in the larger 1/14 scale HBX, that actually absolutely flies with that motor in. So this thing is slightly smaller, slightly lighter, so it should absolutely go like the clappers. Now we've got a little, looks like a 25 amp brushless ESC. So it's not quite the same as the 35 amp one you get in the HBX, so that might hold it back a little bit. But you do get a LiPo battery. There's the other LiPo battery. You get 2 LiPo batteries with it. So I reckon this thing will absolutely fly, I do. Okay, straight off the bat, I've noticed that the wheels are a 12mm hex, which is nice to see on this scale. So you've probably got loads of wheel and tyre choices. If you wanted to put a more road orientated set on, you could do that. You've got these strange little 12mm hex plastic adapters. I don't know if you can see there, but they've actually got like a little slot instead of the normal pin that holds them onto the drive shafts, as if you can tell there. They've got like a little slot instead, there's no pin. So no more losing pins, but it might limit you if you ever want to change these hexes for anything. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. Shocks are off, they're just like little friction units, nothing special. Probably they're not even friction actually, they're just like little springs. But to be honest, on these little scale trucks, the first thing you should do is put a set of little oil dampers on them anyway, it makes all the difference. They are available as an optional extra for these trucks actually, so it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. All the major suspension components are plastic, and as I've mentioned before, I don't know if you can see the moulding flash there. Doesn't look very nice, doesn't look very well finished, but it probably won't affect the performance any. I will say this, however, that the wishbones are quite chunky, beefy affairs. So if you're up for a bit of bashing, this is probably the one to go for. So it's pretty much the same story with the rear suspension, not going to repeat myself. One thing I've noticed is there's a lovely little servo saver on the steering linkage, which it's the first time I've ever come across one on a little truck of this scale, so that's a nice addition. Right, getting to the guts of the thing now. Transmission wise, we've got a nice big thick central drive shaft here. I will say this as well, the wires for the servo were tucked up tight against this shaft, and eventually I would have thought that they would have worn through, so it might be something to watch if you're going to purchase one of these, get those wires out of the way. Diffs look to be plastic and plastic gears inside. We'll crack one open in a minute and have a look. They are ball raced, which is nice as well, as is the central drive shaft. So what we'll do, I'll open one of these little diffs up and we'll have a look just to see if they've got any metal or plastic gears inside. There we go, I've split one of the diffs. It's nice to see a bit of lubrication inside as well, and as you can see, they are all plastic gears. Now I believe you can get metal diffs for these as an optional extra, so if one did disintegrate, it would be well worth upgrading. Well, that only leaves us with the electronics to have a look at. We'll start with the steering servo, which is a little 3-wire micro servo. It is tiny, this. I mean, just as a comparison, that's one out of the motivator. You can see the size comparison there. This thing is tiny. It looks like actually the little servo you get on a WPL 2-speed gearbox. So what the power is like this thing, I really don't know. Now, interestingly enough, the brushless motor that you get in the Eachine is larger than the one you get in the HBX 16889. And just for size comparison, there we go. The Eachine's brushless motor is about 10mm longer, same diameter. And these absolutely rip in the HBX, so this must be a right little animal in the Eachine, because it's slightly smaller and lighter. The only downside I can see is that it's only a 25 amp brushless ESC, so that might actually hold it back. If you were changing the electronics, you could put like a 60 amp ESC in this thing, and I bet it would absolutely fly. One nice touch you've got on this ESC is we've got some ports here for LEDs, but I bet you could plug a little fan into there to cool the motor, and instead of being glued onto the chassis, it's actually screwed. But obviously be very, very careful that you don't use too long of screws, because you end up going straight through the board. So that pretty much concludes our little teardown of Eachine's EAT10. Is it worth it? 60 quid? It's not a massive amount of money to spend on a little brushless 1/18th scale truck. I mean, I know it's twice the price of a motivator, standard motivator, but you are getting a brushless truck. It does come with two 1200 mAh lipos as well, as standard in the box, so that's got to be worth a little bit. And you do get some metal componentry in the form of dog bones and drive cups, and it is fully ball raced. There is some quality issues, I think, with some of the moulding on the plastic. It doesn't look very nice, but like I say, probably won't affect the performance. So 60 quid for a little 1/18th scale brushless basher. Well, it's probably on the money, isn't it? Stick some decent shocks on it and I think you'll be well away. One glaring omission though I've noticed is there is no wheelie bar with this, and if having any dealings with these little little 16th scale, 14th scale bashers, etc., brushless especially, is they do desperately need a wheelie bar, because you cannot keep the front wheels on the ground half the time. So I think this will be no exception. As ever, if you've enjoyed the video and you found it of some use and interest, especially if you're thinking of buying one of these or its derivatives, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, hit the subscribe button for more similar future content. As ever, thanks for stopping by, guys, and thank you for watching.